Hey kids, Mr. Carver here. Hope you're having a good day. Alright, so in today's math lesson, we're going to be talking about independent and dependent variables in tables and graphs. So, first thing, why do you need to know and identify dependent and independent variables? Well, many real-world situations involve two variable quantities in which one quantity depends on the other. So like it says, the quantity that depends on the other quantity is called the dependent variable, and the quantity it depends on is called the independent variable. So if we look at an example using a horizontal table, which horizontal table is this one right here, and then our x will always go on top, y on the bottom. Okay, this one's in time and distance. So the example says a freight train moves at a constant speed. The distance y in miles that the train has traveled after x hours is shown in the table. Table's here. Remember, x, y, time is in hours, distance is in miles. So we have 0 to 0. We've traveled for 1 hour. Our distance is 50. 2 hours, 100. 3 hours, 150. So let's kind of think about that pattern for a second. So if we go 4 hours, we're going to go 200. Our distance traveled is going to be 200. So if we go down in here and we look, the dependent variable would be distance, because the no distance traveled, it depends on how much time has elapsed. So if that's our independent variable would be time, because the dependent variable depends on it. So if we go back here up here to make more sense of it, 0 and 0, that means we haven't went anywhere. We're sitting still, right? Then if we travel for 1 hour, we went 50 miles. We travel for 2 hours, 100. 3 hours, we've went 150 miles. So if we do that, our ratio is we're going 50 miles an hour. So that's like I said, if we kept going with this, we would get 4 hours. Or if we went for 4 hours, we would get to 200 miles. We would travel 200 miles. Okay, so this is just an example of the same problem that we were just talking about, except this time we're using a vertical tables, and then we're just graphing it on a coordinate plane. So remember, when you're using a vertical table, x is always going to go on the left, y is always going to go on the right. Okay, then one other thing that I just want to hit on is, if we look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then here, then I just went 50, 100, 150, 2, 250. If we think about this though, we're sitting in quadrant. Think of it as like in our quadrants. This would be in quadrant 1. Okay, just something to think about. But as I said, so we got 0, 0. So if we plot 0, 0, we're going to start here, right? Right. Then we have 1 in the x and 50 in the y. So always remember x first. We're going to go over 1 up to 50. So that's where our first point is going to get plotted. Then 2 to 50, we're going to go over 2 up to 100. Then we just keep with the pattern, because we found our pattern, we're just going to keep going with it. And we'd go over 3 up to 150. Then if we kept going with the table, it'd be over 4 up to 200. We went to 5, we'd go over 5 and up to 250. Okay, so big thing is, when you're doing this, is always make sure that you understand what your dependent variable is, what your independent variable is. Which side that I always remember that your x is either going to be on the top or on the left side. Your y is always going to be on the bottom or on the right side. Then when we're graphing, always going to go over with x and up with y. And with that, I hope that this is a good intro into today's lesson, and I hope that you guys have a good day.